Forbes list of top agents and agencies. Now, you usually do the compiling, but Jason, you're the man on this one, right?
That's right, yes.
All right, so let's talk about it and start with agencies. How did you compile this list?
Sure. So we do two-pronged methodology. We look at the contracts under management, meaning we go in and we look at every single professional athlete that they represent from 6 different leagues. So NFL, NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, and then tennis and golf. We look at the aggregate number of dollars that they have negotiated for their clients and then the commissions that they can earn from those clients. So the commission rate ranges for different sports. It's up to 10% in soccer, 5% in baseball, 4% for basketball and hockey, and then 3% for NFL.
So in one respect, the numbers 2 and 3 on the list, I was not surprised to see they represent soccer players because soccer makes a ton of money. We've talked about that globally.
Yeah, and as we've seen, the value of soccer teams has been going up, been driven by more and more TV money coming into the league. Guys like Cristiano Ronaldo, you know, obviously making a ton of money, Lionel Messi. I'm wondering in terms of the NBA, though, and the amount of money that's been pouring into the NBA, how that's impacted the list with the new TV deal that they have.
That's right. So the salary cap has gone up significantly over the last 2 years, and so there's been well over $1 billion in free agency contracts negotiated, and that's allowed some of the agencies to move up the list, like Excel Sports, run by Jeff Schwartz, who himself has negotiated almost $1 billion in the last 2 years.
Right, so Jeff,
wow.
Mainly NBA, and what you found is some of the top agencies really kind of have their niche, right?
The top 5 agencies are all what we would call conglomerate or consolidated agencies: CAA, Excel, Wasserman, Relativity, and Octagon. And so these 5 agencies have different specialties in different areas. CAA is pretty good across the board, with their football division being itself worth more than any other sports agency out there. They negotiated over $8.5 billion in current professional sports contracts, netting them over $300 million in commissions. Excel is number 2, really good at basketball, really good at baseball. They're netting in about $150 million in commissions. And then you have Wasserman Media Group, which is really good at baseball, but also does a lot of Olympic sports, and now is really the only major agency in the United States representing soccer players.
And amongst all these conglomerations, a lot of consolidation. Are you proud of me for using a lot of Microsoft words there?
Yeah, economics 101 here. Very good. Yeah, that's one of, you've been doing this list for a number of years now, and that's one of the things I've noticed is that, and as the years have gone on, it seems like fewer and fewer companies are dominating your rankings. And this year, conglomerates really dominate the top of your list. What's driving that?
That's right. So there's been what we would call a roll-up, as we've seen in other industries. The top 5 agencies now represent more than 60% of all professional sports athletes in the United States. Aggregate, the top 40 agencies represent over $43 billion in contracts. But these top 5 agencies have been buying up smaller agencies. So great example, CAA didn't exist 10 years ago in the sports world. Today, they have over $8 billion in contracts under management. They have 11 of the top 50 agents in the world working for their agency. So literally, they employ a fifth of all of the top agents in the world. And they have essentially been going out, and as soon as someone creates a great boutique practice, they buy them up, consolidate them, and own the majority of the market.
I'm always just referring to that movie, Jerry Maguire. You know, it's my favorite agency movie. And it seems like such an incredibly competitive industry. Agents always jumping ship, players changing agents. What are some of the movers and shakers on your list this year?
From an agency perspective, we've had a couple of interesting moves. Rich Paul, who was originally with CAA, represented LeBron James, left to start his own agency. LeBron is helping him get some new clients. He's been able to come into the top 40 from that perspective, and himself is now in the top 50. We have Deanna Day, who is now head of Landmark Sports. Rob Pelinka, her former boss, left to become the general manager of the Los Angeles Lakers. So he essentially left her the agency. She's taken over. She's become the first woman in the top 50 to ever be in that list.
Wow.
And she negotiated a $300 million deal for James Harden and the Houston Rockets.
Wow.
So when you looked at and compiled the numbers on the agents, What kind of methodology did you use?
Same methodology. What you see is a little bit of a disparity between the contracts under the management and the commission rates. Remember that 8 of the top 10 agents in the world are either soccer or baseball, but they don't always have the #1 contracts under management because the commission rates are higher. So if I negotiate $1 billion in soccer commission or contracts, I'm taking 10%, I'm making $100 million in commissions. Whereas somebody like Jeff Schwartz has over $1.5 billion in NBA contracts, he's taking only 4% on the commission. Most of the agents are baseball and soccer in the top, but you have pretty even across all sports in the top 50. CAA has 11 of the top 50 agents, which is unbelievable.
Wow. Yeah.
And in particular, Excel has done a phenomenal job. Excel, again, Jeff Schwartz on the basketball side, Casey Close on baseball, Mark Steinberg, who represents Tiger Woods in golf. They are a 40 or 50 person agency. They're ranked #2 in the world. They have the highest per average contract for professional athletes, pulling in about $150 million in commission, so $50 million per partner.
What is driving the success of specific agents in terms of which agents are leading what sports?
I think it's a combination. You have the fact that these agencies are basically trying to get a critical mass of clients. So CAA with their football division, Tom Condon, Jimmy Sexton, and Todd France, buying up all these agencies, trying to get as many draft picks as they can, trying to sign guys maybe to lower commission rates, get as many players as they can. And so it's very difficult for a small agent to come into the market and say, I want to represent you and I'm going to do a good job for you, when CAA represents, say, 10 of the 32 starting NFL quarterbacks. And so if you're a quarterback coming into the draft, who are you going to go with? The guy that's, saying, I'm going to give you a personal line of service, or the company that represents pretty much everybody, including the coaches and the general managers?
How much of the sales pitch today is really, hey, I'll not only represent you and get you a nice deal, but look at everything else that we can do for you?
That's where you see these agencies really creating value off the field. Now, what's interesting is with CAA, they seem to have a bit of a problem, and that is because they represent so many players and athletes in different areas, a lot of times the individuals that they'll sign will go to another agency to do their marketing work. So on the football side, for example, with CAA, they have a lot of quarterbacks, but Excel, which doesn't represent football players from a contract standpoint, represents 7 or 8 starting NFL quarterbacks from a marketing standpoint. And that's because they want the individual attention on the marketing side, and that's where they've been able to build their niche. But the full service, LeBron, for example, or other athletes, working with an agency like a WME IMG or a CAA who says, we'll do your on-the-court deal, we'll do your off-the-court marketing, and we'll get you in the movies, because we represent the studios, we represent the actors and the directors.
And those deals, the marketing deals, actually pay a higher commission than do when they sign a contract, which could be, 4 to 5%, whatever. These marketing deals could be as high as, what, 15%?
15 to 20%. And so somebody like LeBron James, who has a deal that's expected to pay him $1 billion with Nike, his agent is going to make a 15 to 20% commission on it.
Nice chunk of change. Nice.
Good to be on the marketing side.